Mr. Pipit Aneaknithi President of KASIKORNBANK and Ms. Kesara Manchusree President of the Stock Exchange of Thailand. The moderator for this session is Yasu Ota, columnist of Nikkei Asian Review and editorial writer of Nikkei. Mr. Ota, please begin the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Welcome back to the floor. Welcome to the session of the financial market. We're going to talk about the risk and chance. And the major target of the session is to discuss opportunities and hidden risk surrounding the ASEAN financial markets. As no need to mention the Brexit and the Trump administration in the US. So the world order is being shaken by many unexpected phenomena. So we have to check if the ASEAN financially, its stability is okay or not, and with risk and with opportunity. And first of all, I'm honored to introduce the three distinguished members here, the panelists. But in the preparatory sessions, just coming to this room, I asked three of them to make the first statement as short as possible. Because my intention is to conduct this session in a rather unconventional way. We would like to have a sort of talk show so that we can get the reality. There's many stories hidden in their mind. So who should I start with? I think, okay, let me start with Mr. Frederic DyBuncio. Mr. DyBuncio is a former veteran investment banker. You are the banker, but who joined in SM investment in 2011 and was appointed president this April. This is a historical event. So it was a big news in the Nikkei Asian Review. He appointed as the president of SM because he is the first person to be assigned as a president who comes from the outside of the founding family. So this means something. We have to check what this means in terms of the corporate governance later. So why don't you start? The floor is yours, Mr. DyBuncio. Yes.
Good afternoon, and thank you for Nikkei, it's a kind invitation, and I'm very pleased to participate in this business forum. Undoubtedly, the ASEAN markets integration opens up to endless possibilities for those who wish to take part and be competitive. It allows free flow of goods, services, capital, and investments. There is higher awareness about ASEAN integration today, which provides access to economies that have been growing at an average rate of 5.3% in annual GDP growth from 2000 to 2016. Access to corporates and markets with a youthful population of 635 million people. Financial markets in ASEAN will open doors to new pools of investors for debt and equity issuances, especially for Philippine corporates. Competition is part of the game which could provide pressure on margins and profitability, especially with the presence of larger ASEAN corporates getting their feet wet in the Philippine market. More interestingly is that ASEAN integration is also happening at the cusp of a digital revolution. As technology further evolves and connects economies of varied cultures and geopolitics, more issues come to the fore and present complex challenges and disruptive opportunities for everyone. At SM Investments Corporation, we are preparing for multiple scenarios. Basically, at the core of this is making sure our financial position is strong. We are also studying very closely the evolving digital landscape and its possible impact on our businesses and the rest of the region, taking into account our strengths and keeping our ears close to the ground for opportunities. Our company has been in the Philippines for nearly 60 years and we are still committed to investing in the country as we see high potential for growth. SM is uniquely positioned to capture the growth in the Philippine economy because of its strong brand franchise, market-leading position, synergies, and track record of success. Our government's plans for investment in infrastructure, agriculture, and tourism in particular give us high confidence in expanding our presence across the country. Outside of our own borders, we are invested in China through our malls. We have 7 malls there as we endeavor to provide the same quality and level of service our company and our brand are known for in emerging cities in China with a growing middle class. Asia and ASEAN in particular are large growth regions and therefore ripe for those who would have the mindset and resources to compete. Our goal is to further strengthen our own market position locally in order to better face greater ASEAN interconnectivity. Before I close, let me briefly share what we look for as an investment company when we expand. Before we go into new markets, we ask ourselves how this can potentially enhance group synergies. We look for businesses that can offer stable cash flows and attractive financial returns. Like the proverbial suitor, SM is attracted to companies that can capture high growth opportunities. We like market leaders or those with potential to become leaders in their chosen sectors. It is very timely that through this forum we seek to understand the numerous opportunities ASEAN integration opens for us. Again, thank you for letting me participate, and I look forward to our ensuing discussions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DyBuncio. I understand you placed several important keywords such as competition, connectivity, digital, and synergy, and China. Let's talk about them later. Okay, next up is Mr. Pipit Aneaknithi, who was a unique resume. He's a former pharmacist. Were you? Really? So you were a chemist, not banker. But now turned veteran banker after leading KASIKORNBANK's regional expansion as head of the World Business Division. You are the head of the World Division now. And Mr. Pipit was appointed president this January. Currently, he is in forefront of the banker's fintech research works, and which I look forward to hearing about later. Okay, Mr. Pipit, please enlighten me.
Okay, can I just sit here?
Sure.
Yeah, to call out, the topic we are going to discuss about. In the first opening session, the Deputy Prime Minister mentions a lot about, the major economic trends in this region, right? And then it really means, for us, some of the factors are considered a threat, and some, are considered opportunities, right? So the topic I'm going to call out, as a summary or the sum up of what this session is going to be about is that Asians provide a lot of opportunity to grow. These markets has a big potential economically and even politically. And I think that for the upcoming promising digital innovation, we as bank, we have to rethink and reconsider our new growth strategy. And at the same time, we have to align our resources to build new talent, right, to stay relevant to the consumers, to make sure that we can continue to create value to the clients who started to move across the border because these upcoming opportunities, and someone might say this is upcoming risk and threats as well. So the aim of the bank is to be able to continue to support the growth of the real sector. We basically think that without the economic activities, in the growth and in the real sector, we as bankers, we have nothing to do. It's the role of the bank to support, the economic activities of the real sector. This is the definition, the context, that we have to hold very strongly. But the change in the business landscape, particularly in this region, will continue to change. And this is something very important, for the bank, to come up with a new strategic imperative right, to stay relevant and valuable to consumers. For KBank, I just would like to draw, the strategic imperatives, into two dimensions. The first one is, as a banker, traditional dimension, i.e., we have to deepen customer understanding to be able to serve them. The market change, right? And the second thing is we have to think about cross-border solution rather than keep focusing on just on the domestic market as Thai Bank has been performing over the past, say, 50 years. And the third thing is we have to continue to improve service quality, but this time when we talk about the service quality, it means, we have to expand, the borders once again, to go across the border. And the second dimension is related to the quite a buzzword, digital transformation or the digitization in the digitalization, right? So I put it very simple here is digital dimension. What we are going to do is we are going to work together with major tech firms, IBM, for example. We can no longer, right, work as banker. And we have to look, for the business opportunity with fintechs. And also, we have to work together with anyone in the new ecosystem. And of course, the definition of customer will totally change from the traditional definition of customer. The relationship with the bank and the customer will never be the same. The customer can turn competitor tomorrow or tonight. And at the same time, the customer can become potential partner. So the relationship is going to be changing very fast. That means strategic imperative for KBank to move into the region and to stay relevant and valuable to our clients. So what we are going to apply the digital technology, to improve our service and to come up with innovation, we have to play towards our strength. We will be bankers, but the banking definition will never be the same. So we have to redefine banking. This is a key message for us. And the second thing is that we have to embed ourselves into the new ecosystem, right? Because we redefine the landscape of the banking, right? We redefine the real sector. And the third thing, under the digital dimension, we have to transform organization to be more nimble and agile. Otherwise, no one would like to work with us. Because conventionally, traditionally, banks are very much risk-averse than the other industry, right? So we have to change. And then for the major trends, I just would like to draw attention, in addition to the key speech from the Deputy Prime Minister, the roles of China, the role of Japan into this region will be even more intense. And the second thing is growing interconnectivities in ASEAN, and also maybe we can say ASEAN plus 3. At KASIKORNBANK, we have been pursuing the strategy called ASEAN AEC plus 3. This is the new market landscape for us. And the third thing is about the industrial upgrade. As the Deputy Prime Minister mentioned in his speech in previous session about the Thailand 0.4 and also the Eastern Economic Corridor. Right? That's gonna change the landscape of the real sector economic activities in the region, not just only in Thailand. Just would like to draw, the conclusion why ASEAN is so important, why ASEAN is going to be one of the bright spots in the world, for the potential economic activity, the size of population, the demographic dividend, with the median age in ASEAN just only 29. And the GDP size is about 2.6 trillion US dollar, is about 4 times smaller than China, but this is interesting enough. And then the GDP keep growing, based on the forecast by World Bank or IMF, the ASEAN economies will continue to grow at an average rate of 4.9. It's pretty attractive. And then we can also say the potential of the consumer market, right? The consumption keep expanding and growing. And another important thing, I think very important, very interesting for the Japanese business here is the manufacturing hub for the region. Right? We mentioned this morning about the regional supply chain is soon to be formed. Right? This is the key statement I just would like to introduce on this session. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. You have depicted kind of a scary scene for me. Today's customer will become the future competitor. But I'm sure that you as a scientist and you observing the situation quite objectively that so anyhow you have to fit the reality. So the bank has to evolve into the reality in the future. That's quite an encouraging comment. So last but not least, we have Ms. Kesara Manchusree. Everybody knows about her. Since beginning, appointed the Stock Exchange of Thailand President in 2014. Ms. Kesara has known visionary leaderships. You became a sort of the figures in the media in Asia. And I think you have been interviewed by us in Tokyo a couple of days ago. Right. Great. So please hold your breath. The article will come up to NAR soon. Has it been published yet? It's already. Is it? Okay. I haven't seen it. Okay, she did a lot of things. Started for IPO's standard setting and speeding up the process to become the digital exchange. And her most recent project is the launch of the new fundraising platform for startups. That is very new, which surely helps motivation for young people in Asia. So Ms. Kesara, please share your thoughts with us.
We have only, and thank you for Nikkei for inviting me to have the chance to speak here. I would have a very short presentation, only 3 pages. So firstly, it would be a time for celebrating, is it celebrating or not, 20 years of the crisis, starting from Thailand. So the Thai economy has come a long way since the financial crisis in the year 1997. Our economic growth has been robust with, I just compare from the year 1997 to this year. And you can see that the GDP has been now 4 times and the GDP per capita 3 times from their respective value in 1997. And during this same time, the costly lesson from over-reliance on the bank's loans in the pre-crisis and the severe credit crunch as the crisis heightened. Thailand financial markets are now well balanced, comprising healthy bonds and equity market. You can see from the middle, the capital market. And you can see the size of these 3. The bottom would be the banking sector, and the middle is the capital market, the equity market, and the top one, $308 billion is the bond market. Those comprise healthy bonds and the equity market in addition to the banking sector, while the banking system has been very strong with low non-performing loans, or we call the NPLs, is reduced to right now is about 3%. The capital market has grown to become a meaningful source of funding for the businesses that have gained stronger global presence. People often ask me whether the crisis will occur again. My answer is that it is very unlikely indeed. Not only is the Thai economy now strong in terms of the overall macroeconomic stability, it has proven that it's resilient against the shock, such as the subprime crisis in the year 2008. And with the capital market gaining its role as an important source of financing, currently with the market capitalization of $443 billion, it's about 107%, 107% of the GDP, compared to only 24% in the year 1997. We have been significant developments both on the demands as well as on the supply side. One of the demand sides, you can see that the Thai market has been much better recognized by the international investors. You can see that the Thai market has been the most liquid exchange in the past 5 consecutive years. And on the IPO side, we are the highest value of the IPO for 4 consecutive years. And in terms of the MSCI, we got 34 Thai listed companies including the MSCI Standard Index. Moreover, the 39% of 192 companies out of 600 plus companies have diversified their revenue sources to foreign investment and operation and pursue the business strategies to strengthen their global presence. And on the supply side, SET has been offered a full range of the asset classes, from those in the cash market, from equities to the derivative markets. Our regulatory environment is also conducive to welcome foreign corporate listing. And we already have 3 companies in Laos and Vietnam that list on the exchange, and we are expecting another one is coming for the later of this year. And let me also touch on a few specific initiatives on the new service that the Stock Exchange of Thailand will embark on. This one is what we have been doing. I think you can read it on the listed company. We do have we has been recognized and put into the benchmark of MSCI and DJSI. Investor size on the equity market, I believe that we has been increased both the institutional investor and the retail investors. And this is the last one that I like to say that on this Monday, 17th of July, we are going to introduce another platform we call the Fund Connect. It's a mutual fund trading platform. We already have 22 asset management firms and over 30 companies on the selling agent who are going to join us. This platform would help the retail investor to access into the capital market easier than before. And the second one that on this presentation, we call the startup platform, and the name is Live, L-I-V-E. This platform plan to start by the later of this year, and this platform will offer 2 functions. The first function would be the fundraising, and the second function is the trading platform. And this one is offered to only the startup and the SME, the micro SME, the small company. It's not a third platform because if you are aware that the Stock Exchange of Thailand already has 2 markets. The first market is called Stock Exchange of Thailand, which is a big company. And the second market is a small company market for alternative investment. We call MAI. Those 2 markets are listed company. But for this live platform, it would be for startup. We not call them the listed. It would be a register because those companies would not be a public company. It's a limited company, and it's just a kind of startup. They are more risky than the listed company. That's why what we do would be the register. The register condition, and also that the buyer, the investor would be only the institutional investor and a qualified investor. So we are not open for the retail investor because of this one is just the beginning that we like to test the market, and more importantly that we also kind of experiment that we are going to use the blockchain technology for this platform. So this is how we are going to make it for the benefit of the people in Thailand because of we have the kind of the SME, over 2 million SME in Thailand. And we also have the startup that I believe that right now is over 1,000 startup in Thailand. This one, we hope that we could help them to have accessibility to the capital market. And we also helping our investor to find more option to invest. And we going to have the new technology to offer for this platform. I think I should finish it, so you could continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, we have to know more about the LIDE later because I want to know I want to learn how it really functions, how the money comes and who can buy, who can make an investment to the startups. I mean, for the investors or the venture capitalists, it's kind of difficult to reach the real startups which is valuable in the market. So maybe we should discuss later, but can you add?
Hello. Yes, for this live platform that we know that in terms of the startup, the paying full story of them is try to find the funding source. And we know that we have a lot of funders, both the kind of high net worth clients, even the venture capital or the PE. And but you have to know that for the exchange, we are very good at matchmaker. So that's why what we are doing what we good at. So what we do is we create a platform and we make them and right now we already have about over 600 SME and startup that we already because of we already done a lot of things since last year. So we have in hand about 600 plus startups. So we would migrate them into our live platform. But in terms of the investor, VC can transact in this platform. But if they are the retail, they have to be high net worth clients.
So it's not really a market; it's more like a club
more
or
like
salon.
OTC market.
Oh,
it's more like OTC market. But I would like to say that in terms of the exchange, the platform is a tool. But actually, we has been done a lot of things with the startups since last year. We already set up our own fund together with the government agencies. We put our money together with them, and we invest in the startup. And we also have we running the class for the startup because I think the startup has to be kind of more professional in doing things. And we also running the class for the professor from the university all over the country to make them know that startup is happening in Thailand. So they have to be aware of these kind of things.
That's very interesting. I think Mr. Pipit is familiar with that. You are the scientist and you have the technological background. Those geeky people doesn't sometimes know how financial system works, and they have the knowledge and the idea, but so it's just like a more educational system. Well, anyhow, that leads to the first topic of today of the resilience of the market here. I found since the launch of the Nikkei Asia300 index last December, it has gained 19% in the first 7 months, and for far outperforming the 12 gain recorded by stocks in the advanced economy. Advanced economy it's only 12%, but here it's 19%. So it's much bigger increase. And SM investment shares rose 28%, and KASIKORN gained 17%, which is good. And but what does this tell us? That's a big question. Because of the unstable market and the political situation in Europe and the US, probably this is simply a blessing in disguise for our Asian market. Are we really good as the figure tells? So I would like to ask Mr. Pipit first, how resilient and how strong are we? Is the growth of this stock index, increase of stock index tells the truth? What is the reality?
Can I just try to explain to you as a reflection of the real economic activities in Thailand, right? And then Kun Kesara, might help covers on the fund flows from the international market, right? So that we can say, we can see, the comprehensive picture, of those performance, okay? I would say we will never see, the growth rates of, say, 8% as we have seen before 1997, right? And then we have been in twist and turn, because of the global shock over the past 10 years, right? Euro debt crisis, the hamburger crisis, and so on. But I would say you have seen the performance of the real sector, from the GDP growth rates of Thai economy over the past 10 years, in average of about 3%, right? No matter how serious, the crisis hit Thai economy, right? So if we compare these post-crisis growth rates, to the other more advanced economy, I would say this is really a good proof that we are quite resilient, right? Because of the strength of the private sector, as mentioned previously by the deputy government. But going forward, this is another challenge, right? It really depends upon the interpretation of the changing business environment. Some think that, they have seen a lot of opportunities in this region from the growing economic activities of the neighboring countries, right? Some of them already grabs business opportunity over there, right? Because we have seen the economic growth of our neighboring countries of an average rate of about 70% or even 8%. Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar, and Vietnam, right? So this is another factor that should be taken into consideration, when we look at the resilience of the Thai economy, because we are no longer just only playing in the domestic market, but a lot of opportunities arise, across the border. This is my view, on the resilience, as reflected in terms of GDP growth rate and the performance of the bank, and also the performance of listed company in Thailand.
I see. So when it comes to the resilience and the competitiveness of a region, we talked about the Thailand, but it's no longer Thailand. It's no longer just Thailand. It's a center of the greater Mekong economic region. Actually, the last week, I drove through from Bangkok to Ho Chi Minh via Cambodia. It has taken 2 days, hiring a minivan, and the bumpy road leading toward the Ho Chi Minh. But it is connected, and there's a beautiful bridge in Cambodia over the Mekong River, which is called the Tsubasa Bridge. It's founded by Japanese ODA, I guess. And it's connected, and traffic is heavy. And it's naturally the people comes into Thailand from Cambodia. And stuffs, money, and the raw materials, and the vegetables and foods is transported to the Cambodia every day. No check. So that means there must be some financial activity behind the real economy. So if you take a look at this place as a region, probably the resilience is higher than before. I want to ask Mr. DyBuncio, in your case, since you have appointed as a president, you have started a lot of new projects outside of the conventional ASEAN group business, such as real estate, retails. But you started the business in energy sector and geothermal technologies and business processing outside the office and workers' dormitories. It's quite new, and also in China. So how do you see the opportunity in this region, and what is your intention and your thought to start a new thing and to break even your core business?
Well, I think our ability to grow and get involved into new businesses to a certain extent is helped by the resiliency of the markets, right? Maybe like 10 years or so ago, it was very difficult for Philippine corporates to access long-term money other than going overseas and borrowing in US dollars or in yen. But today, the financial markets, at least locally, domestically in the Philippines, has grown a lot and has changed, right? It has matured, and now it's very easy to access long-term peso funding as well. So the availability of reasonably priced long-term money actually makes it easier for companies like ourselves to expand and grow into new businesses. As you mentioned earlier, right, the SM Group, its core businesses really are banking, property, and retail, right? And each of those businesses on their own are of sufficient scale to do operations on their own without the need for much support from the parent. So they're growing on their own, but given their big scale, the growth is steady, but not growing as fast as they would have grown if they were a lot smaller, right? But as the Philippine economy continues to grow very healthily at like 6% growth, there's a lot of opportunities out there. And some of these smaller companies look to us, for example, to help them accelerate that growth potential. So it's these opportunities which are shown to us that makes us feel that, yes, given the size and sort of the network within the group, on its own, we can actually spur further the growth of these smaller companies to take, advantage of the Philippine economic growth, right? And with that growth opportunity plus availability of long-term peso funding, it makes it more attractive to expand to these new areas, which could be further growth opportunities for the group in general. So that's what we've been doing these past few years.
I see. The Philippines is sort of apart from the continental ASEAN, you are not one of the Mekong region. It's sort of insular, I would say. But when it comes to the region, where exactly do you look at
other than our investment in China, which has been there for a long time with historical ties with the family,
right.
The opportunities now which we're looking at is primarily on the ASEAN region, right? We still believe that the growth is here. There's a lot of similarities in terms of our culture, so it's easier for us to understand doing business here. We do have a lot of sort of relationships with other major ASEAN-based corporates. So this is the region which we would look at to invest in initially. But just like in our investments in the Philippines, which are not related to our core business, we would always be looking to partner with credible companies that we can, work together with to grow that opportunity wherever that country might be.
You are known as an M&A person, as a banker, with your career, right? And what is your next step? Can you reveal us your next strategy?
If I do that, then I wouldn't be a good M&A person, right? But we have just made a few new investments in the country. So for now, we're really focused on growing those new businesses and enhancing value, not just for our shareholders, but also for our partners in those specific projects.
But you have a plan in your mind?
We do continue to look at opportunities both domestically and overseas.
Good enough. Good answer to the journalist. Ms. Kesara, let's talk a bit about the funding aspect of the economy. We talked about the cross-border activity of trade and the people. And how about money? I mean, you said there's some Lao companies listed in your market. And what about the bond issuance? I understand, let's say 20 years ago, if some entrepreneur want to start a new business, they have to go to New York or London or Tokyo, probably Singapore. But can you describe what's going on now?
Yes, I have to say that among the GMS countries, Greater Mekong sub-region, Thailand is the most oldest capital market amongst our neighboring country. So our capital market has been quite mature in terms of, you can see that we have the bonds market, which since 1997, the bond market has been growing and has been debt enough that people can raise the fund. And we also have the equity market that has been in place for 42 years already. And when we compare to our neighboring country, the CLMV country, they are just young and they are very high growing countries with the GDP growth is more than on the average side is more than 8%. So they need a lot of funding. That's why, but in terms of the credit rating, I don't think that they can go to other regions to raise a fund. So in terms of in the Thai market, we are offering them that they can raise funds to the Thai market, and the Thai market has enough liquidity. And in the past, Laos has been issued a bond for several tranches already, and they can issue in both Thai baht and the U.S. currency too. And right now, actually, we talk to the Myanmar that in terms of the exchange, we can support the rating agency to do the rating at the Myanmar, and they can raise fund. They can issue the bonds in Thailand too. But I think we are working on these issues too. And in terms of the listing on the equity market, we are open to, and we are discussing among with the regulators that if we could do the co-listing in Laos and in Cambodia. So they can raise a fund from Thailand, but they can do the trade from both countries.
So what is exactly the advantage for the companies who want to be listed in the stock market to choose Thai stock exchange rather than New York or London? Is it a proximity, physical proximity with this?
For the, if they are in a CLMV country, I believe that for the Thai investor, we know them better than others. And in the Thai market, we offer the better valuation. We compare Laos and Cambodia's PE is much lower than the Thai market. We are decent price earning ratio, and in terms of the Thai market, investors are they have a lot of liquidity to invest outside. And if they know that the companies in Laos, in Cambodia, or even in Myanmar, we are used to it, and information is very close. And we do have the Thai brokers who open the branch in those countries too.
I see. So we shouldn't underestimate the power of Thai bahts. I think I understand there are several cases of bond insurance denominated in Thai bahts, right? And also the trade transaction is based on the Thai bahts between Laos and Cambodia, with Vietnam as well.
So about 12% between Thailand and Vietnam is settled in Thai baht. But for the Cambodia, Laos and Myanmar, of the 100 of the trading volume between Thailand and those countries, I would say about 60-something% is settled in Thai baht.
I see.
So that might be the reason, why this quite a surprising information is that the Thai baht has already become number 10 of international settlement currency, of the world.
Thai baht's number 10th international currency.
Yes.
Okay, which means first, of course, the US dollar. Second comes euro, dollar,
Yes,
euro.
and Hong Kong, and then the certain European country, and also we just follow Singaporean dollar, basically.
Oh, it's interesting. So that's why you opened branches in this region. I heard you have opened some branches in the local banks in Cambodia and Myanmar and Vietnam.
Yes, in addition to the fact that we see the upcoming business opportunities in the domestic and the local market in Cambodia and the neighboring countries, but we also see a big opportunity for the cross-border, right? When we say about the international trade, right? We are export-oriented economy, or import-oriented economy, whatever. The border trade is very important for those neighboring countries. About 70 or almost 80% in some country, all of the international trade volume is done through border trade rather than international trade. I'm saying international trade, USU and LC, for example, letter of credit, through the international bank, right? This is the way you remit the monies, to settle the transaction. But for those countries with Thailand, rather than international trade, we do it through border trade.
I see. It's surprising that more than half of the cross-border transaction is based on the Thai baht.
Yes, and again, as Kun Kesara just mentioned, a lot of large Thai conglomerates start going out of Thailand. So this is another business opportunity. We know our customer, we understand them so well, right? We are really comfortable with the historical performance and relationship so far with our bank. When they just would like to expand their business operation in the neighboring countries, we can provide funding to them as well. If they look for funding, in the new and local market, that's going to be very difficult for them.
I see.
I like to add
Sure.
that amongst 660 companies in Thailand, 192 companies already have the offshore business. And among those, over 100 companies already have the business among the GMS country, which is our neighboring countries. And if we talk about the trade, total trade in Thailand, 25% to the ASEAN. And among that, I think almost 20%, almost 15% go around the CLMV country. So it means that we are trading amongst neighboring country and within the ASEAN. And you can see that the listed company has a lot of business from the offshore. That's why if you see our performance in terms of net profit, the first quarter is increased by 26% year on year. This is because of, it's not depends on the GDP in the Thailand, because of those companies that listed on the exchange has diversified. You can see from the first session, Central Group or the Thai Union, they has been doing kind of global business.
I see. So it's quite a natural thing that they use the Thai baht as a transaction money. And you said there's a bond issuance by the foreign companies in Thai bahts, denominated in the Thai bahts. And we call the bonds issued on the Japanese yen is samurai bond, right? So how would you call the baht bond?
We did talk before that he recommend to say that tom yam gung bonds, but
Okay.
I think I like to call it a pad thai. It's a bit better.
Sweeter, isn't it? Tom yum is spicy, but pad thai is sweet. I think I prefer pad thai. Okay, let's call it the pad thai bond from now on. Okay.
But I think I just would like to add, to what Kun Kesara just mentioned. We actually setting up our own operation, in the neighboring countries, provide us, some more business benefit, not just only for those Thai corporates, who expand the business across the border, but also we can identify business opportunities, for those domestic players as well. For example, recently the electricity or power generation company. We brought them to Thailand and we helped them raise funds, be it Thai baht or US dollar. And then some of them who actually in the good shape in terms of the governance, we can even help them raise funds, through the capital market, through the bond market. Right? In addition to just serving only Thai corporate going beyond the borders, we can identify business opportunities and help those strong players in the domestic market, back to Thailand to raise funds in Thailand, through syndication loan, in US dollar denominated loan or Thai baht bond. This is another business opportunities.
I understand, Mr. DyBuncio, that you were here in Bangkok when the Asian financial crisis had happened in 1997. And compared with the period of time you were here and now, how do you see the difference of the Thai baht and Thai economy and the resilience of this region?
Yeah, I was here until a week before the crisis actually happened.
You escaped.
I escaped.
Okay.
But I think comparing Thailand then and Thailand today, it's very, very different, right?
Okay.
Even in terms of I'm no expert in Thailand, but even in terms of the capital markets, I think back then, just like it was in the Philippines, there was very limited sort of access to long-term domestic currency funding. So a lot of the corporates then had to borrow dollar debt, right? And that was one of the major, I think, sort of catalysts for the sort of crisis that happened at that time, was all of this foreign currency debt, right? But nowadays, again, comparing then, even the Philippines today and then, there's a lot more liquidity. The capital markets are a lot more developed. I think the domestic savings rates in most ASEAN countries have gone up significantly. So there's a lot more alternatives now in terms of the local currency. So I think the environment then and today, it's very different, right? And that's why I agree that the potential for another similar crisis happening is relatively low. I mean, we can't say it's not going to happen again, but the risk of that happening is probably a lot lower now. And even if it does happen, I don't believe it's going to be the same magnitude as it was back then, right? Again, it's because right now there's a lot more sort of investment alternatives. There's a lot more local currency liquidity. The consumers are wealthier now. The savings rate is higher. So, and more importantly, I do believe that corporates, especially people in my age, have learned a lot of what during that crisis. And I don't believe it's something which at least my generation would forget, right? Because it was really very difficult, not just for Thailand, but really for almost all countries in the region because of the sort of the domino effect at that time, or the contagion effect. But again, with markets being more developed now, I am optimistic that chances of that happening is going to be a lot slimmer today.
That is an encouraging comment. I was in Washington, D.C. when it happened, and looking the market from distance. And what is said in the market at the time was only one individual investor named George Soros has initiated to pull the trigger. And he happened to have found that vulnerability of the Thai baht system and just take advantage of it. But I don't know what the reality might be. But this doesn't happen anymore. But still, I believe it has something to do with the volume of the foreign reserve. So it comes to the point where we should discuss about the public policy or the monetary policy in terms of keeping the appropriate amount of the foreign reserve in emerging market economies such as Thailand. So what do you think of the current system, Ms. Kesara? Does Thailand have enough foreign reserve?
We believe that the reserve is over 200 million US dollars, which is very high compared to our total debt. It's about 3 times of our total debt, which is, I think it's more than enough. Because you can see that the central banks already encourage people to spend more money outside Thailand. They kind of encourage people to invest offshore because before that everything had to be approved, pre-approved before going offshore. But right now, even now, the kind of individual person can remit the money at least 5 million US dollar very easily. I believe that we have enough, and you can see that the reflection of we have the current account that are positive. We have the very high foreign reserve, and also that the balance of payment, I think it still be, everything is in a good shape, even all the trade balance. That's why you can see that the Thai baht has been very stable. And somehow Thai people complain that it's too strong.
Right.
But I don't know, is it? But I think in terms of the financial position, both the government side and also that on the budget side, I think the deficit has been kept at about 40+% of the GDP, which is we have the limit of 60%. So from the government financial status, from the central banks, everything I think is in a good shape. And if you see from the corporate side, for the listed company, you can see that the debt to equity for the first quarter of this year is 1.2 times, which is very low. And I believe that a lot of listed company has a lot of cash. And that's why they invest offshore. They try to buy things, merger and acquisition, and they acquire a lot of companies outside Thailand because they still have a lot of cash. And I believe that because of they already experienced in 1997, they are very prudent in managing them.
So experience tells what you should do next. That sounds familiar to me. I've seen many Japanese companies who is cash rich, but they don't even know how to use it.
But this time, I think they know because they spend the money and expand to the offshore business. But they are very considerate in terms of expansion.
Good comment. Okay, let's talk about the next opportunity of the market. We are seeing the raising the middle income class population in this region. Thailand is the population is declining as Japanese, but looking at the region, middle class is expanding so rapidly. It's quite robust, and which is the driving force of the economic growth. So the question is how to catch them in terms of the banking industry, in terms of the investment to the market. So then we have to talk about the technological aspect, how to reach individuals. As Mr. Pipit said earlier, that we have to look at the individuals, persons, not just the customer, the group of the people. Each person can reach the market and participate in the market. So the question is how the bank can tackle this dramatic change of the behavior of the person. Fintech might be the one answer.
Can I just frame this thinking, my own thinking, when we have to interpret, the new strategic imperative for the upcoming business opportunities, I also mentioned earlier about the foreign direct investment into this region, right? This is one of the biggest opportunities, for the real sectors and then for the bank. And the second thing is the international trade, right? Because we've been part of the world order, right, for so many years, right? So now the business opportunities arises very clearly is in Asia. So, and we are in Asia as long as we understand the customers, as long as, we set our own footprint to make sure that, we can have access to those markets, right? This is another opportunity. And the third thing, I just also would like to draw attention to the audience here is the retail individual market or the retail customer market, basically, or the consumer market. The new generation, who has more consumption power, turn to be digital savvy. And this is another opportunity, right, that we can apply the low cost through technology or innovation to come up with a new business model to serve them or to reach them, to provide them with a better service, right? Long before cannot be done because of the conventional banking business model. We have to set up brick and mortar, which is far too costly to bear, given the fact that, all the banking institutions need to be monitored very carefully or closely by the international investors in the capital market, right? Because we are a part of the international capital market, so we have to comply with the international standard So the return on investment is expected by an investor should be comparable to the other market, banking sectors in the other market. But now, because of the availabilities of the technology innovation, that can actually help bank come up with a new business model, basically low-cost business model for the new generation consumer. This is another business opportunity. You have seen a lot of the big tech company or e-commerce company from China is a very good example. After they have been very successful in the Chinese domestic market, now they start penetrating into this region. Payment is another business opportunity. And the fact that the Chinese middle income class keep growing and the size is tremendous. Now they spend their holidays in Southeast Asian countries. You know, they land here without any cash. This is the something they get used to when they are in China. But now when they go out of their own country, they expect something they experience in their own country. Right? So we as bank, why don't we team up with those Chinese payment company, right, and facilitate those retail small ticket payment, right, as if they are one of our customer. Because in Thailand, I think all banks pursue the so-called customer-centric strategy. You know, we categorize our customer. This is large corporate customer. This is small and medium enterprises and the retail segment. Now, basically, at KASIKORNBANK, we add up another important market segment for the retail client, i.e., the people in transit. It can be expat. It can be migrant workers. It can be tourists. And this provides us a lot and huge business opportunities because of the regional integration.
Mr. DyBuncio, the Filipino people are famous for as workers in foreign. The remittance is a huge part of the GDP. So the Philippines must be the one who is used to that foreign transaction.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to add to that and also
Yeah.
address your question, right? Because in the Philippines, there's still a very big population that's both unbanked and underbanked. Okay? And
Means they don't have a bank account.
they don't have a bank account. They don't have access to the bank. They're not comfortable going to a brick and mortar bank and make transactions. So there's that huge population, which is, I believe, an opportunity for banks to go after. And like was said earlier, it's not going to be brick and mortar. It's going to be more, I would think, a fintech type approach, right? And if you look again at the Philippine environment, and I do believe it's probably applicable to other ASEAN countries too, the credit card penetration rate is very low, right? Unlike in the US, unlike in the developed countries, the US, in Japan, or in Europe, where credit card is very high, when people buy anything online, it's usually paid by credit card, right? We all know that e-commerce is coming. In fact, in the Philippines, although it's starting at a very low base, it's growing very, very fast. But the biggest chunk of the e-commerce transactions are still cash. So it's basically cash on delivery. So you have all of this, you know, courier service to provide the last mile service. They bring a package to you which you ordered, but you pay them cash. So there's a lot of risks as well involved in all these courier companies carrying cash back to wherever they need to make the deposit, right? So I think that's also one reason why e-commerce probably has not totally taken off yet, is because of the payment system, right? And I may be wrong, but I think that it's going to leapfrog the credit card and go direct to like digital payments, digital wallets, right? I do believe that that's where this industry is headed. And in fact, talking about the overseas remittances, right? A lot of those are done now via cards. No? Usually it's via prepaid cards in the phone where you can transfer payments and all that stuff. So I think that's the very basic, and then you go higher and become more sophisticated, right? In fact, I think there's probably more Filipinos who own smartphones than have bank accounts. So if we start doing the same things that, let's say, the Chinese companies are doing, that's the next opportunity, which I think will leapfrog credit card penetration. That's my personal view. Right?
That makes me worry about Japan. As long as I stay in Tokyo, only thing that I have to do is just to open my wallet, and I find more than 5 credit cards. If one card I cannot use it in the shop because it reached the limit, I use the second one. So I never worry about the money. It is there, and the credit card is free basically. So you have a lot of cards in the wallet, thick wallet. I have to carry them on. But I went to Shenzhen in China a couple weeks ago, and I found nobody use currency. I mean, real money. They use a smartphone. They don't even open the wallet. The taxi, even the street musician. They just use the WeChat Pay. And the membership of the number of members of the WeChat is 1 billion. So this is a big platform. So, and you were saying that they are imbuing, going beyond the border into the Asian market. The Chinese people comes as a tourist. So, and the people in Asia, Southeast Asia, get used to watching how they behave in the consumption behavior. So why not doing it the same? So I guess having a legacy of credit card or banking systems can be disadvantageous in the digital age, isn't it? Is this something happening in Southeast Asia, like China, Shenzhen, Thailand? What do you think, Ms.
Thailand already start. Some store already accept the WeChat and WePay. They already accept because of they already have the Chinese clients. And once they know, and the kind of the bank has been kind of start operating this kind of things, I believe that it's gonna be more popular and more popular for the younger people.
And I think as tourism continues to grow rapidly across the region, right? And the biggest growth, at least for the Philippines, are the Chinese tourists. So they being so used to doing everything with their smartphones, it will follow.
And they look so cool. They don't open the wallet, just yeah. So people want to imitate, they want to do the same as they behave.
I think it's more convenient, and also that I think it's less cost. Otherwise, you have to carry all kind of the credit card, and you have to pay at the end of the month 5 for credit card anyway.
Yes, see. And fintech technology, it seems to be it's based on the platform of communication, such as WeChat. In Thailand, I heard Line is popular, right? And in Philippines, in Singapore, they use WeChat. I know WhatsApp. And in Philippines, Line, saying WhatsApp. Okay.
In Thailand, I think that's very popular for the lines.
And in China, it's WeChat. So it seems like they're competing in such platforms. So who is winning, WeChat or Line? What do you think? Is there any company from Southeast Asia?
I don't know, about other markets, but as long as I understand, Line is very popular, right? Dominate Thai market and Laos market, right? Because we speak this basically.
Thai, Laos, Japan.
Yeah, Japan also. I don't know.
Line is Japan.
Line is Japan,
Line
right?
is the most
Okay.
popular one in Japan.
And the others, WeChat and WhatsApp, right? But when it is come to the who is going to win in this game, on mobile platform of the payment system, that is quite difficult because, once each industry has unique strength, right? And some of them start collaborating. That is something the winning is going to be promising than, doing by your own, right? So the reason I say this, because everything related to payment has to go through the central bank approval, right? For the stabilities of the economy of the country, right? But the banking sector, the unique strength is that, the KYC, the accuracy of information, the reliability, the trustworthy of organization. This is the strength of the bank. We process, huge amount of transaction, in a minute, right? But we are very slow, right? We respond very slowly to the ever-changing needs of the consumer, particularly for the young digital-savvy segment. But if we team up, with tech firm or those, fintech-like organization, we can come up very quickly. Any innovation, right? This is a new ways of looking and exploring business opportunities in this region, given the fact that the rising of the middle class, and then everything can be done across the border at ease.
Ms. Kesara, what do you think is the appropriate regulatory framework when it comes to the fintech? I mean, you have to be prudent because information flow, data flow, if it's totally free, so somebody might be taking advantage of the data accumulation. And what is the status of Thai now? And
I think in the Thai context, both the Central Bank, the Bank of Thailand, and the regulator from the Security Exchange Commission has been very open-minded in terms of to support the fintech industry. They already opened the sandbox for the fintechs to see that how it's going, and they has been running the competition amongst the fintechs. And I believe that on the regulation side, I think they are watching and they are trying to see that how could they draft the regulation. But in terms of the principle, what we are seeing that they like to open up the industry, which I wish that they are going to open for the existing financial institution and the exchange too. In terms of because of, right now fintech has been like kind of in a sandbox. But what we are seeing that in terms of the existing financial institution, we have a lot of regulation too. But in terms of the existing financial institution like K-Bank or some other banks, they already set up the subsidiary and exploring all kinds of fintechs. Even the Stock Exchange of Thailand, we already have a kind of a unit that exploring this kind of things because we are seeing the opportunity that if we offer this the new features of the fintech attached to our existing service, it would give the customers like kind of more convenience.
I see. Individual investors and the consumer is something to do with the stock index too, because in Thailand, I understand institutional investor is only 30% or 40%. The majority is private investor, right?
I think right now it's about half and half.
Half and half?
Half is retail, individual retail. Another half is institution, which is 25 to 30% from foreign. The rest is the local institutions.
So that is one of the reasons why the liquidity is high?
It's possibly because of normally retail, like kind of individual investor would think different from the institutional investor. But in terms of Thailand, I have to say that this is kind of, it's just our history that the individual investor and the institutional investor has been happen in the same time. So they are retail investor, they are quite mature. They already have a lot of information that flow around. And as we have the fintech and we have all the kind of information vendor, everywhere we can find the information, even from the line, every day, which is, and in terms of accessibility to the market, the individual cost is not so high. I think it's comparable to the institutional investor. That's why I think in terms of to access to the Thai market, it would be up to them to decide that which channel that they like to go in.
Now we are going into the stage where we discuss risk of financial market. I think the portion of the individual investor and the institutional investor is something you have to discuss. I think the half and half might be the positive sign of the resilience in the Thai market.
What I see that in terms of the Thai market, what we are seeing that so far, my belief that the stock market has been in a maturity, in a more mature in terms of compared to the past 10 years. And we are seeing it a lot of events that you see that all kind of uncertainty from the political incident in Thailand. We are seeing that the stock market has been respond in a kind of a more mature market, and both the institutional investor and the individual. That's why we think that the Thai market is a kind of resilient market. This is applied to the bond market too.
For SM Group, are you interested in merging a fintech company? You have a bank within a family, and you are interested in a fintech as well.
Well, you know that one of the core business of the SM Group is the banking side, right? So fintech is definitely something which we cannot disregard because it will come. It's just a question of when, right? And it's going to be, I think, a disruptor to us in a sense to the banking sector, because then the consumers can just do things online and not have to go do some of the services the banks would normally do. So it is something which we are very conscious of and are aggressively exploring opportunities in the fintech space. But I think, like was mentioned previously, it's something which I don't think we want to start from scratch. It's something which maybe we want to partner or JV with somebody who's already in that business, so we can jumpstart the process, right? But together with fintech and the digital age, I think there's also going to be some additional or new risks that we need to be conscious of, particularly in terms of, let's say, hacking and whatnot, right? Because then it becomes more critical in that sense. And I think traditional bankers like me before is no longer going to be as in demand, but rather they'll be more like tech bankers, who is what's going to be needed in the industry these days.
What does KASIKORNBANK do with fintech or mobile banking? What is your strategy? Can you reveal a little bit of the scenario?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, we redefine our strategy. We redefine our customer segmentation. Right? We see the business opportunities, beyond Thailand, and also we embrace all those changing business environment. Having superpowers like Japan, Korea, and China coming into place into this region, right? And this is the context based upon which we redraft our strategy. And in addition to that, touch a little bit upon the fintech strategy. We believe in collaboration. We don't think that we can create everything by ourselves, because we are not someone who are really creative, who are really innovative. Because banks are trained to be really reservoirs. This is true. All the bankers are reservoirs. Maybe apart from besides the M&A investment banker. So the digital transformation strategy has been discussed widely in the boardroom. This is, to let you see how serious it is in the banking sector in Thailand. And it has become one of the strategic agendas of the bank. In addition to previous years ago, we add up the regional strategy, into the bank strategy. And then recently, 2 years ago, we start to add another big strategic piece, i.e. digital transformation, right? But I would like to say, to change management philosophy, right, to be ready to really embrace the changing in the digital space is not easy for the bank. So what I'm going to say is the major hindrance to this transformation lies inside the bank itself rather than external environment. the young people, the young staff, they would like to team up with those fintech, big or small, around the globe, right? They can bring up a lot of innovative ideas to do business even better, right? But we have to go through the internal compliance, and then again to the regulators, right? And I would like to say no one is wrong, no one is right. It's a kind of transition period, for the whole system. Not just only fintech, not just only the junior employees at the bank or even central banker. So meaning that we have to learn together, right, to make sure that innovation will not be harmful to the consumer, right? So this kind of thing, we have to believe or work together, in the belief that we will do things even better, right? But we are not going to put the banking industry or the banking platform, the conventional banking platform, into the very risky operation or something like that. So it is now, very difficult for the management of the bank and the even central banker, right? Because we have to strike dedicated balance, between innovation and again, the consumer protection. This is a major challenge. And one important challenge for us is how shall we build a new breed of talent who really understand the tech and understand the banking. So it is not easy. But we have to go through this challenge together, for the whole banking system in Thailand, maybe, across the region as well. I think Singapore and China are very good two examples, of the private and public sector that work together, to embrace this kind of digital innovation.
Right. I see some dilemma in between democracy and technological innovation. But final point I want to discuss before we end up is corporate governance, which I'm sure has something to do with resilience and risk. And I'm particularly glad to have Mr. DyBuncio here because he's the first person to be a president of SM Group who came from the outside of the founding family. Am I correct? So what does this tell to us? Because when the financial crisis happened 20 years ago, one of the reasons why it developed so rapidly is bank within a family business means financing, each other within a family makes things even worse because it's not transparent. But now you still have a bank in your company group, but you as an outsider, sort of. So what does this tell?
Well, I think corporate governance is something which we take very seriously. It's something which we want to do, and it's something which we know our investors expect from us as well. Okay? SM Investments is a listed entity, and it has subsidiaries like SM Prime, BDO, China Bank, that are also listed entities. In fact, the two largest market capitalization listed company in the Philippine Stock Exchange today are both SM Group companies, right? SMIC and SM Prime. And a lot of foreign investors would view us as being a proxy to the Philippine economy given the breadth of our businesses. And so we do have a lot of foreign investors in our sort of shareholder list. And from them, we also want to make sure that corporate governance is very important. We believe that it's something which we need to be able to continue to grow. In fact, as we acquire new businesses or JV with other companies, one thing which we focus on immediately is corporate governance. We believe that to be able to sustain our growth through generations and retain the reputation of being a prudent business group, it's very important to have corporate governance, particularly related party transactions, which is what you were referring to earlier, right? It's something which not just us internally, but even the regulators in the Philippines are focused on, right? whether it be the Security Exchange Commission, the Central Bank, the Stock Exchange. There's an increased focus, I think, globally in corporate governance. And as one of the biggest groups in the Philippines, it's something which we want to be sort of the pioneer, the leader in terms of really focusing on making sure that we have all of those in place, because without those, I don't think we'll be able to grow the way we've been growing. And the fact that, like you mentioned, I'm very honored that I'm the first non-family to be president of this group. It does show that the majority owner, the shareholding family, is very much focused on professionalizing the organization, and together with professionalizing is obviously corporate governance.
What were you told exactly from the C family when you were appointed as a president? Did they just simply say you are the one, or I'm just curious what happened behind the scene?
Well, it's really a constant or a conscious effort by the family that they want to professionalize, right? We've actually been, other than myself, we've actually been inviting people from outside, particularly those who work with multinationals, to come join the group. And with those sort of new ideas also come better corporate governance practices and risk management practices. So, as the group continues to grow, and as now we start expanding into sort of more and more equity investments in non-core businesses, the family felt that it was time to sort of transfer the reign to professional management to really bring the group to a new level in terms of new businesses that we're going into.
I see. Ms. Kesara, I understand that about 85% of all companies in Asia and the Pacific region are family-owned, and which can be the advantage in terms of the speed of decision-making, but at the same time it can be a disadvantage of being a transparent to the market. What do you think of it?
In Thailand, what I already said that they have a lot of IPOs, and we still believe that in the next few years we still have the demand for the IPO. Those are the family business. We have to accept that in Asia, that you already said 85% is family-owned business. But the family-owned business right now is come to the second and third generation. Those like to be more professional. That's why they like to be listed on the exchange. And some of them don't want to manage their own business. They like to hire the professionals to manage their business. That's why we still have a lot of demands for the new listing. But in terms of Thailand, as we already have the crisis in the year 1997, is an opportunity that we start to do the corporate governance. In terms of the exchange, we require the listing requirement. We need an independent director, at least 3 people. And since then, I believe that in terms of the Thai market, on the corporate governance scorecard compared to the ASEAN market, the top 100 companies we compare for the whole ASEAN, we are running at the top ranking of among the ASEAN companies. And we believe that also that right now we are moving not only the corporate governance, we moving to the sustainability, which include the social responsibilities and the environment. And this is measured by the Dow Jones Sustainability Index. We have like 14 companies, including the KASIKORNBANK last year, that are counting into the DJSI. And this number, 14 companies, is the highest among the ASEAN exchanges too.
Very encouraging. Thank you very much. And time is up, and I have to wrap up here. And thank you very much again please give the big hands again for 3 panelists, Ms. Kesara and Mr. Pipit and Mr. DyBuncio. Thank you very much for very educational and insightful comments. Thank you.
Once again, thank you very much for another very insightful discussion. Now we would like to move on to session 3.